So Francesco Molinari kissing the claret jug is on the back of the Times Ireland edition, and also Kerry claim late draw is like victory. I mean, it is very, very much like a victory for them, and it does obviously keep Monaghan alive and makes them very dangerous for Galway. But at the same time, it was in a pretty impressive. I mean, it was mad. They were 5 points down at various stages, and it just looked like the game was gone from them.
Yeah, it looked like it was going to be an 8-point win. At half-time, I was like, straight away, 8-point win for Monaghan, this thing is done. And when they go 5 points up, it's like, yep, 100% this thing is going to happen. And like Monaghan are going to be absolutely kicking themselves. It's not just for the concession, it's the lack of scores when they were in positions to completely kill the game.
But even after the goal goes in, they've got a 3-on-1 situation at the end.
They have to score, like, as in, you just hand pass it, run along the end line and hand pass it back over. But like they got it so right. Like Monaghan, they ate Kerry up. Huge performances out of their big players, Began, McManus, Carl O'Connell. Like it just went so right for them.
Yeah.
But yet you just can't. They just didn't get over the line.
See so they were doing the keep ball thing. It's like that has become prevalent. I'd say. I think Dublin Tyrone was the first time I'd seen it really last year.
The Irish version of the cheeky tackle.
Yeah, but like, do it when you're 4 points up.
Yeah.
Is there not like a strict 4 points we can do this, 3 points can't do this?
Not necessarily. Galway did it yesterday against Kildare and they were 2 points up for a period. I think it's as much about everyone being on the same page when you are going to do it. That like everyone has the thing in their mind going, I'm not being the one to make the mistake here. Keep the ball safe, keep it safe. But like, look, it's just bizarre. You can't, like, it's very hard to analyse it because Monaghan were so far superior in a lot of areas of the game, but yet didn't come away with a victory.
Yeah, it's true. The thing that is, when you sit down this morning, the one cold hard fact we have is that Rory Began is probably the best keeper in the country. Like we've been saying it for a little while.
In the second half, they went to the full forward line.
Oh my God!
But like, as in. He sucks. His short kick out is brilliant as well, and that's why Kerry have tried to press against teams on their kick out. And like, if you have a keeper who can kick it 70 yards over 13 of your players, like you're going to use it.
Yeah.
And his free taking is just, it's like he's just gone up with a wedge.
It was a through ball. It was a through ball from the kick out that actually led to a one-on-one with the keeper. But ends up being a point. Like. It would have been the first time I'd ever seen one of those, like a proper assist for a goal. So green and gold. I think if you're the Examiner, it's fair enough that you're putting Clifford on the front cover this morning. Boy wonder Clifford saves Kerry's season in Clones. There were a few contenders for Young Footballer of the Year up until yesterday, but that deal is done.
Brian Howard's performance on Saturday night was another great performance. Where
safety blanket. Just, you see the trust that everyone else has in the team. Where any of them are in trouble, give it to Brian Howard.
I mean, he's brilliant, and it definitely was in the running, but I think when you do the last-minute goal to save the entire season...
And you've kicked 1-4, or 1-5 and 1-3 in 2 Super 8 games.
When your team has been completely annihilated.
It's a hotly contested Young Footballer of the Year this year.
It's true. I mean, I don't know, it's probably not in the conversation for Footballer of the Year, but a couple more performances like that, and it's like... not far off it, right?
Well, why not? If they get to an All-Ireland semi-final and if there's a decent performance against Dublin in the All-Ireland semi-final, why not? Who knows? But no, I think it's a step too far for that. It's going to be one hell of a tussle, though, for that Young Footballer of the Year if Brian Howard keeps playing the way he is. Because, as you say, like like a safety blanket shouldn't be something you notice, but it is. Yeah. It is so noticeable, just doing the right things time and time again.
Yeah, but even at that, he's always dangerous. As in, even when he gets the ball, he's not looking to go back. He's looking to pop the ball into their full forward line or try and release someone who can kick a score. He has an array of skills that are, it's like the reincarnation of Paul Flynn.
Yeah.
And then after 60 minutes, they take him off and put on Paul Flynn. Like
who's actually good
form. It's scary. Like.
So the front page of the Irish Independent has charity GAA match offer to quell Liam Miller row. So Ralph Regal has this story. GAA Chiefs are to offer hurling or Gaelic football themed fundraiser at Páirc Uí Chaoimh in a bid to resolve the controversy over the use of the venue for a soccer match in aid of the late Liam Miller. So a fairly obvious scenario here is that they play a GAA match as a warm-up, like a Cork All-Stars versus All-Ireland All-Stars or whatever, and they use Páirc Uí Chaoimh. It's fairly easy to get out of this hole they've dug for themselves, right?
Yeah, it's a good shout. Like, so you mean as a curtain raiser to the main event?
Yeah.
So they just like bring in different goalposts then at half time or whatever, or just play a soccer match in the GAA posts. Like, I'm just thinking practicalities.
I mean,
but it is an obvious solution. I'm not sure, like, if there's a loophole around it. But the one thing around this that has been kind of the big talking point for the last couple of days is, what would happen if they just went ahead with the game in Páirc Uí Chaoimh? What then happens? What is the disciplinary procedure for the GAA self-punishing? Like, how does that happen? Who says who's going to get the blame here, and how does that punishment process work? I would love to see what happened. I'd be fascinated to see if the GAA would actually punish themselves.
Well, so it would be one area within the GAA punishing another one, which is exactly how all of the GAA discipline works anyway. So, like, somebody could get a 2-year ban for the breach of the rule and not be allowed to do any GAA activity for 2 years. That's like what they're saying they would have to do, except then obviously.
Who makes the decision though? As in, even, like, is it the Cork County Board that go, okay, you can play the game, and then they penalise the Cork County Board, or
an officer within the county board? Maybe there'd be like a single scapegoat who would end up being ultimately responsible, or maybe that whole board gets fired or whatever. But, like, obviously nothing would happen.
yeah,
right? Like,
yeah, I think we're all in agreement there.
do you know?
It could be an amazing way for Frank Murphy to go out, just to say, listen, give me the 2-year ban, I'm gone anyway.
Yeah, fair play. That would definitely be an amazing final stroke of the Frank Murphy pen. Clifford rescues Kerry. That is the face of Conor McManus, looking pretty devastated there. Dick Clerkin, O'Rourke teaches Kerry lesson, but will they learn from it? You see that headline was written before the result came through. Vincent Hogan, neighbours from the west with similar tale to tell, set for epic battle, and Molinari magic. So, I mean, Clifford's highlights reel is already ridiculous. He's still a teenager.
Yeah. It's only going to get better. That's the scary thing.
Like you mentioned, the movement there, the actual finish
It's the only place he can put it. There's 4 men between him and the goal, and he somehow manages to just coolly slot it into the far corner.
I'd imagine I'm not sure for David Clifford, for any ordinary human being, it seems like 1 in 1,000 you might be able to get it into that little inch where it's the only place where the ball could go. For somebody of David Clifford's quality, I'm not sure is that something where he's like, easy, yeah. Maybe under pressure it's tough, but in terms of the actual technicality of it, he's like, yeah, I fancy myself.
Yeah.
There was a left-footed shot that he kicked a point with, was it?
On the turn.
Yeah.
That was unbelievable.
Casual.
64 minutes in, I think.
Yeah.
Was it? So it was quite late, but it was kind of like,
4-point game, 3-point game, 4-point game.
It was almost, it was almost lackadaisical the way he kicked it. I was like, I haven't seen that before.
And I'm right to say he was being dogged all afternoon as well.
Yeah, he was.
They were in his face all afternoon. And to have the resolve to kind of get to the 74th minute and still say, I can go and win this game, or, well, what we're saying win this game, but I can go and draw this game for my team is huge. Great
picture in the front of the Irish Times sports section. So, I mean, Clifford is out of shot in that, and there's definitely 1, 2, 3, 4, and this guy probably isn't actually in his line, but the ball is there and it's going to end up in that far corner. So that's the Kerry survived to fight another day, and Molinari works his magic after a thrilling final round. Molinari basically parred his way through the early stages and then birdied 18 when everybody needed him to bogey for a five-way playoff. It would have been at that stage. Molinari claims 2-shot 33-1 open triumph as the back of the racing post, and there, arc very tempting for Swiss Star Sea of Class. So, more racing for you a little bit later on, obviously.
The back page of the Herald this morning, it's Sky deny Harte Oma claim. This is an interesting story this morning. No request was made by the broadcasters to narrow the pitch, Conor McKeown is writing. So Mickey Harte said after the game on Saturday night that it was Sky who requested that the sidelines be pushed in closer together so that they could fit their equipment on the sidelines. Sky have come back. Their officials have said that there was no contact made, or they have made contact to clarify Harte's remarks, because they've said they didn't ask for this at all, that there was enough space on the sidelines, and the decision to move the sidelines closer together was not Sky's decision. So it's it's strange. Like, somebody is saying something maybe that didn't occur here. I don't know. Maybe there was a misunderstanding, and maybe things got lost in translation. Who knows? Yeah,
the lost in translation is a definite possibility, because Mickey Harte had very specific details that, like, they needed equipment. And
it would have been the sideline camera, wouldn't it? The one that the guy sits in and wheels around.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like they haven't had one of those in Oma before, ever.
No, it is tight. It is tight from the sideline to where the stand starts.
Yeah.
Would have been easier for him to say that we were just worried about health and safety. That seems to be the word that's been bandied around enough this summer. So I'd say that would have been an easier scapegoat for him, but this Sky one just seems a bit mad.
Well, it's very checkable. You can ring Sky and they can say yes or no. Because he said it would have been the club who controlled this. So the club got contacted by Sky, and according to Mickey Harte, and then they made the sidelines a little bit narrower. So it was it was lucky for Tyrone that happened, because obviously, you know, it changed the course of the game. Or did it? I don't know.
It was barely over a metre, I'd say, was it, that they moved it in? Like, it's not a huge difference.
It was hard to tell. Tyrone were also keeping men quite wide as well, which I thought was ironic. It was like, why are you doing that when you've narrowed the dimensions of the pitch? But yeah, it's a strange one. It'll be interesting to see what happens next there, to see if anything will shed more light on this. At the back page of the Irish Daily Star then is cliffhanger. David the hero as Kerry set up tension-filled Super 8's finale. You've also got on the back page, I got Ozil ends time with Germany after what he claims to be a campaign or a victim of racism and disrespect, he says. And also McLean eyes Prem return. So James McLean has joined Stoke City, and as they look to get back to the top flight. The back page of the Mirror this morning is cliffhanger as well. Kerry's starlet David breaks Farney hearts at death to rescue his kingdom from Super 8 elimination. You've also got Mamma Mia, Cheer We Go Again. That's their Francesco Molinari headline. At the back page of The Sun is Good Golly, It's Molly. Francesco is Carnoustie champ, Drama Mia at the Open. And we've made hard O'Rourke of this, is the headline on Kerry. Colm O'Rourke, of course, in the aftermath, saying that it shows. Yeah. Oh yes, sorry. Malachy O'Rourke was saying that. Yeah. I forgot the O'Rourke. Separately, Colm O'Rourke did say afterwards that it showed the folly of the system, the way Kerry might win one game and progress through to the next round.
It's not. That doesn't show the folly of the system. Like, I thought that whole argument was, well, now we're learning that a league is a league, and if you, it's like, no, we're not. We knew this all along, and it's a far better system than the previous system. It's just not a good system. The old system was completely rubbish. This system, not great. There's a good system that maybe will be the next one.
Yeah, you don't write an essay on the first draft though, so I'd say what they're hoping is this will be the catalyst for it, that in 2 or 3 years' time, when they go back to Congress, everyone will go, right, what worked well in the Super 8s, what didn't? What can we do to make it better again?
A bunch of games in summertime between sides who are evenly matched in provincial venues is really good.
Yeah.
And you could do that for every county. Every county could still be in action if we had a proper system in place.
Yeah, I think the argument around the tiered championship is really starting to come to the fore now, where people are actually giving a bit more thought to it. The biggest issue for people, I think, is that they feel if they're in a lower championship that they won't get the same recognition or acclaim in a similar enough fashion to what's going on with the lower rungs of the hurling championship at the moment. Yeah. That'd be what I think is really putting people off. If you could guarantee that, you know, we're going to get, there'll be the same all-stars for the different levels, that sort of stuff.
You can do that though.
People would be more receptive to it.
I imagine sponsors would love to be associated, because you actually end up having a selection committee for the third tier, a selection committee for the second tier. You can televise those, you can do all sorts of stuff around them.
The television is the other side of it.
And like, it turns out there are loads of TV companies who need to put games on TV. So if
we're getting to a stage though where you can use different platforms, it doesn't have to be TV. I mean, if there's an audience there for it, you can go with live stream and that sort of thing. But like, look, that's a few years down the line yet. I think it's going that way though. People are.
It's not that far down the line, really. Like, there are enough cameras at matches to be able to stream. Like, so we're going to be streaming the Kilmacud Sevens this year, right? It's the first time that we've done it. We've done some basketball stuff as well, but like, it's really easy. It's the quality isn't where it needs to be for, like, so you couldn't say that we're going to be using the same broadcast quality, but like, not that much money would upgrade it to what would be absolutely broadcast quality, and that's the expectation that people have, is that they want to see games. Like, it's really players like you who ultimately are going to be deciding whether or not people get in behind the notion of a tier championship. Like, would you play all summer if you thought that you were in Division 2 with a chance of getting into the Division 1 championship?
Yeah, you would. Like, the biggest issue is where do you draw the line? Like, where do you say, right, we're going to have a 12-team Division 1 championship, or Sam Maguire, you're going to have a 12-team O'Shea championship, as Joe Brawley keeps harping on about, or is it 10 teams in the bottom? Then that's I think where you're going to have a few issues.
Yeah.
And the biggest problem is if there's one heavy beating in any of the divisions, it's, or sure, this used to happen in the old system. We've not changed it at all yet.
Yeah.
You know, but like, if you have the same weekend where you have the 2 lower championship finals on the Saturday, the main championship final on the Sunday, and it's the whole feast of football that weekend.
It'd be pretty amazing.
Why not?
And the teams in Division 2 in that final are both promoted to the senior championship, whatever, if senior, junior, intermediate, whatever terminology gets used around it. Then suddenly there's actually, and the players win a holiday, whatever.
That's but that's like, it's the reward afterwards. It's not feeling like you're just suddenly being devalued where everyone goes, pats you on the head and goes, on you go there now, we're getting on to the big boy stuff over here.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, ultimately there is going to be change on that level. Like, you're right in saying that it'll be people like you who will be talking about this, but ultimately it won't be you who makes a decision. It'll be your representatives at Congress, and like, you see some of the decisions that'll be made at Congress, like even just throwing back up the whole Liam Miller thing, like that just really kind of hammered home how incredible it was that only 23% of people at Congress the year they tried to bring in the foreign sports, so to speak, at other GAA grounds, only 23% thought that would be a good idea, when in actual fact if we had that rule brought in we wouldn't be in that situation. And you kind of think of that and you think of this kind of makes sense in theory, but quite often theory and sense doesn't come into some of the decisions made at Congress.
I do feel like the players, if they got behind a movement, then Congress might have no choice but to listen to them. I realise that's never happened before, where Congress feels like they've no choice but to listen to what's going on. You know?
That's idealism at its best, I think. Like, the problem is, by the time the players would have to get very much behind something, and that's a tough ask in itself, because everyone has their own opinion on it. I do believe everyone should get the opportunity to play for the Sam Maguire. It's always been there, and it keeps everyone on an even keel. If regardless of what happens, you get one game in the Sam Maguire, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, or you factor that in somehow. If you win the provincial championship, you go into Sam Maguire. The provincial championship maybe slides back a small bit, but at least you have that route to a final, regardless of who you are. And after that, you go into the other championship.
That's tricky.
It is.
Yeah.
But like, look, we're living in an ideal world here, sitting in the studio on a Monday morning discussing it, aren't we?
Just a couple of other back pages this morning, just 2 British titles. They both go to golf. The back page of The Guardian is Magical Molinari, Italian holds off Woods, and a host of big names to win a Carnoustie and make history. And the front page of the Daily Telegraph sports section is Magical Molinari as well. Italian sees off challenge of Rose, McIlroy, Spieth and Woods to land his first major.
Yeah, Tiger Woods was prowling, was in the lead for a little while yesterday in the Open. Everybody was going completely mental, and then his game fell apart over a few holes. Yeah,
remarkable consistency out of Molinari for the whole day. Like, as in, there's pressure, and then there's Spieth, McIlroy and Woods being behind you, pressure.
And they all had their own issues as well across the day. Like, if Spieth had a level par round, he would have won it. Like, but actually he collapsed in 2 holes as well, at a double and a triple and a bogey in 2 holes.
It just makes no sense what happened to Jordan Spieth yesterday, particularly after looking at what happened 12 months previously, when you're like, okay, this is going to be the Masters all over again, for the Masters of 2016 that is, and then he absolutely did the opposite of what bottling is last year to recover and win that title. And then yesterday it's just, maybe it is Tiger, maybe it is the sense of him prowling up the leaderboard, and Jordan Spieth, maybe, like, we can't actually quantify how big a deal that is for somebody like Jordan Spieth, who presumably idolised Tiger Woods as a kid, and now for the first time ever in a major sees him clawing his way back towards it. Maybe that was the reason. That is one of the only things you could point to why Spieth collapsed more than he did the previous year yesterday.
Woods just had a couple of really poor holes on 14 and 15, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, the drives were no good.
Yeah, and he put himself under serious pressure, probably feeling that he had to make birdie on one of the 2 of them to give himself a chance.
Yeah.
And then he forces two wedge shots wide of the hole and ends up with a double bogey and a bogey, and that's curtains. Like,
which is a bit mad, because, like, actually, again, if he just parred out 2 at that point, it would have been an amazing clubhouse score to post, and that would have had everybody else. He was playing with Molinari, so maybe just got into a bit of match play with him or something. Again, it made no sense.
He was ahead at that stage, though, wasn't he? He was 7 and Molinari was 6. So if I'd always love to know whether they check the leaderboard or not. They surely have to. Like, a lot of them come off and say, no, I just played my own game, and this sort of. But like, if Woods knows that he's ahead and he goes, right, I can make par here, put this middle of the green, I don't need to force anything.
Yeah, the caddie's definitely looking at it.
Yeah.
Like, if you're like technically not looking at it, but you're getting told the information, I wonder, is that like, oh, I wasn't looking at the leaderboard at all?